Hey guys, Brent Boyer from Adam. So let's talk divorce and custody related issues here. I wanted to go over some things today on child care expenses. Issue that comes up, especially now with the virus and people being at home and children being at home and those sorts of issues. But really, daycare, child care expenses can be an issue at any time, quite frankly. And so I thought it'd be a good topic to go over. So first of all, please remember to like and subscribe to the video. That'll help us out with what we're doing here today. And but yeah, so let's talk about child care expenses. So there's rules about this that can be found in the Michigan Child Support Formula Manual. Of course, it's online, but it's basically still called the manual. And it addresses a lot of different issues related to child support and expenses for children, either in a divorce or a separation type of situation. So with child care expenses specifically, the issue I wanted to address is what you should be doing if there are no child care expenses. So let's say your child is at home doing online schooling. So he's not in traditional child care anymore. And you may also have a parent that is now working from home and has been working from home, also no child care. So what's important to keep in mind here are a couple things. Number one, child care gets lumped into child support when it comes to withholding money from someone's paycheck. So if you're ordered to pay child support and you have a child that's under age 12, you may also be ordered to pay your share of child care expenses. Now, the problem with that is that no one is monitoring whether there actually are child care expenses. So you may have a court order that's from a year ago, and at that point there was $300 a month in child care expenses, and you're paying your share, and you're supposed to pay the $300, or maybe the total is $300, you're paying your share of whatever it might be. So you have a child support number, and then you also have, in addition to child support, you have child care expenses, and you're paying your share of that number. Now, a year later, maybe things have changed. Maybe there are no child care expenses, or maybe the child is now in school full-time and wasn't before, so the child care expenses have gone down drastically. Either way, it's up to you to monitor. Look, if I'm paying this $300 a month for child care, I need to know that there's actually $300 a month in child care. Otherwise, I'm just paying extra money. It's like just paying a higher number for child support. It's like I'm just paying the wrong amount. So something to keep in mind, and it's been coming up recently with people that are working from home and kids that aren't in school and those sorts of issues that go on. And but forgetting all of that, things just change over time. So it's worth checking into. You don't want to be paying child care expenses and come to find out there actually are not any child care expenses for that child. So keep in mind, child care expenses go basically there's a presumption that there could be child care expenses up to August 31st following the child's 12th birthday. So if you got a child that's over age 12, there's no child care expenses ever whatsoever that no one can make you pay child care. If they're under 12, possibly. Normally you're talking about a child that's preschool age. That's when the really expensive part of it is going on. That's when child care expenses are happening. If both parents are working, you end up paying your share. So how that works is you pay a pro rata amount. So you pay part of the child care expenses depending on what your income is and your percentage of the income relative to the mother of the child. So if you have the same income, you make $60 a year and ex-wife or ex-girlfriend, whoever it is, makes $60 a year, you pay 50% of the child care expenses and she pays 50% of the child care expenses. Now if it's more like 60-40, like you make $60,000 a year, she makes 40, then you pay 60% of the child care expenses, she would pay 40% of those child care expenses. So that's how that's going to work. So you're never in a position to pay 100%. The max would be 90%. And if you're dealing with a spouse that's not working, as in you're paying 90% of child care expenses because her income is so low, you really wouldn't have child care expenses because she's not at work. So in other words, child care expenses are only in place for the mother of the child to go to work or go to school. It's not to go out on Friday night or all that kind of stuff. So normally you're going to be paying some percentage of child care, maybe 50%, maybe more than 50%, depending on how your incomes compare. And then that's your obligation. But that is withheld from your check as part of the child support. So if my child support is $800 a month, I could have another $300 a month in child care expenses the 300 isn't part of the 800, so now I'm paying 1,100 a month. So that's where it gets expensive. But you want to keep an eye on, what am I paying? What am I expected to pay? What's been court ordered? And is it making sense? I.e., I'm ordered to pay child care expenses. Does this person even have child care expenses? If they do, what are they? Are they ongoing? Are they continuing? Or is it something I need to change? If you get to a point where you need to change the child care expenses, you would need to file a motion to reduce support. Child care would basically fall under the umbrella of child support. It's all one category, basically. So you would file a motion with the court, and you get that set up. And then if you can't get an agreement from the mother or the child, you do a court hearing and you present your side of why there are no child care expenses or why they are lower or whatever the case may be. And you ask for a reduction just like you would with child support. So hopefully that helps, but it's something to keep in mind today and really any year that things are happening here. You want to make sure that the expenses you're paying for are actually expenses and aren't just some phantom cost that's basically just a way to raise your child support and jack up your monthly obligation. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions, of course. Thanks.